Yeah, first of all, thanks to everyone for coming here in that miserable weather and talk a little bit about what you expect from us in the near future, and also what I kind of think would be also interesting to present for the next future. I'm a little bit sorry about that seating arrangement, because I much more hoped you would sit in a circle, but then I figured out that you cannot watch the photos, so I had to sacrifice the seating arrangement for the photos. The photos are running so you don't get bored. No, keeps the lights on. I think it keeps the lights on. It's not. But also because a lot of you, I figured, didn't know what I did in the last years, and also what I kind of the art I like and I like to present here as well. It's basically a collection of exhibitions I did the last, I did from 2002 onwards in Vilnius, Auckland, Amsterdam, Christchurch, Cook Islands, and so on. It is also, so it's just kind of running there and just in the background. I think Parasite was very much run by a very close group of artists in the last 10 years, and got a very good reputation internationally, and was very important also in the Hong Kong environment. And now they made that next step of hiring me as a curator, and I therefore think it is also good to be to talk to the group who actually supports Parasite. And that's not only the people who work here, but more important actually the people who come and visit it and use it. But also I wanna try to make Parasite a little bit more, or open it up even a little bit more. This is with doing these talks we did in the last 3 weeks. I at the moment positioned my office outside of the office so people can easier talk to me, and it is just also an attempt for me to go out and see more, and I'm very interested in, I'm here because I'm interested in Hong Kong art, I'm interested in Pearl River Delta art, I'm interested in the wider Asian scene, and I because of that I certainly want to look at as many pieces as possible. And this is the Prime Minister from New Zealand, by the way. And also want to talk to as many people as possible and see what's happening. What I want to do, but what we also have to do, or what also is important, I think, is in Parasite to explain what we are about and what is our vision for the near future. Again, the question is also, seems to be a bit. What does qualify me to have this this position as curator or director in that space, and that is why I actually do show these films. It's also why I have all these publications here, which I just give around so you can have a look. Just split them up somehow. Split up. You can have a look a little bit what I like and what I did in the last years. I'm sorry, there are 2 publications which are very important, which were artist books we did in the last 2 years, which I just couldn't bring, and they are missing, but in the future they are available in the library, which is still upstairs and still basically beside my desk, but everybody can have a look on it. So as you can see, I did the Triennale. I was running an art space in Sydney. John, do you want to take a seat there or sit there? Or?
I just want to trip.
Oh, you want to trip a bit, okay. Yeah. I was working as a curator in a museum. This was a public art project I did in Christchurch. So there's a lot of different little and very big projects I was involved in. What is, I think, important if we talk about what I'm doing here and what we want, where we want to go as Parasite, is that we first have to analyze the local art scene, and so to analyze what actually exists in the local art scene. And we do, most of you know that probably, we do have a lot of grassroots organizations. We have 1A, we have Video.ARCHIVE, which is a little bit more specialized. We have Shanghai Art Space, we have the Goethe, we have or had Parasite. So all these institutions more or less show a certain kind of local art of people who are just emerging artists, of things like that. Then we had the Art Center, which did a lot of international shows in the past. Nowadays became a little bit more closed. I talked to them in the last week, and they basically will concentrate on public art and comic art in the next 2 years. So that is in that space. The museum will be also. I wanted to look for the old shows in the museum. I know there was Inside Out, which a lot of people found very impressive, but I couldn't. They don't have an archive on their website. But people tell me that basically the last international big show they had was Inside Out. But then they showed the show that's running at the moment, basically monography shows by very established older artists. In the future there won't be any international contemporary art shows coming up in the near future. Christine Chow will leave the museum, and that doesn't seem much hope for international contemporary art. For the rest, I don't know. And then we certainly have a commercial gallery scene in town, which is very strong commercial aspect. We have only a few international focused contemporary art galleries. For a space or for a town like Hong Kong, amazingly little, an amazingly small contemporary gallery market, strangely, a thing which is a phenomenon. And I heard a lot of explanations, and I guess it's a combination of all of that. And then certainly we have the Asia Art Archive, which we all know is a great, very international focused institution, which is a place by a lot of curators come to Hong Kong, by a lot of international people come to Hong Kong to visit it and to work with it. So what I think the little problem is, or what is interesting, that we have all these kind of grassroots organizations, but we are a little bit missing the places that show that are the next, what you could say, the next step, that show not anymore emergent artists, but established international artists, that show artists that are in the international discourse. And the international discourse, I think it's things you would read in Flash Art, in Art Forum, see in the Biennale. It's just art in that kind of quality. And I think that Parasite hopefully can reach that next level, and can be a bit more established, and can show more artists that are in that international discourse. But I always was interested in the local context, and the first things you saw was this Vilnius Biennale, and there I had this idea about curating in concentric circles, and that basically meant to show as many persons as possible from the local context, and then as further you go away distantly, as fewer persons or fewer artists you show on more significant they should be, and that's kind of one of my main ideas about art. But for here, and that is maybe a little bit different to what Hong Kong was in the last 3 years. For me, the inner circle would be basically the Guangdong area, and not only Hong Kong. So I would enlarge that a little bit, because it seems that it is interesting that a lot of very interesting people from Shenzhen or from Guangdong have not been shown in Hong Kong as they should have been shown. So basically, I'm interested after this quite long introduction. I'm more interested in hearing what people want from that space and what people also expect from that space, because as I said, I think it is important to have a very high quality. I think it is important to show like a little bit more established or more talked about artists here, because we have to, because that middle institution is just missing between what's coming next after this grassroots institution. And I think I want to be the most inspiring and the most basically the most inspiring and most talked about institution in that region. And I think with the board we have, with the position we have, with the relations, international relations we have, I think we should do that. And so the program for next year will be very much Asian focused. Probably there will be, if we do shows, for example, I want to do a Vienna Actionism show, but I want to do a Vienna Actionism show because I think it is important for the local performance scene and for the local performance scene and for the Asian performance scene, and if we don't do it, nobody will do that in that area. Because Hong Kong is such a big hub and such a great place people come through, we will have a few chances in the next years to take over or to show international people for very little money. For example, the European Kunsthalle, the curator will come through here in December, and they want to do one of their first shows here, and it would be bad not to do something like that. But I think it's important to say that if we have chances like that, we will look out that not a lot of funding and not a lot of resources go into these projects, but resources are more locally focused. So certainly PS Magazine will go on, it will be even bigger. We still will do catalogs and things like that. So we still do the Hong Kong artist research scene, and things like that will basically go on. Yeah, that's more or less from my side. I hope there are some questions now, or I'm pretty much lost here. Yeah, I open that up.
When you were talking about local rule, include Hong Kong, something like the music, you think that Hong Kong, when you talk about local, you should include that. But actually, the history of Hong Kong and then Hong Kong and something is very different. How can you put it together and say that it's local?
It is. I think it is. I don't know what is local is. I know there's a very different history in the two parts, but I also know that things like Shenzhen, which I was supposed to visit last week, but I couldn't do that, is also a very new town, and it's basically there as an addict, not an adjunction to Hong Kong. I think it is more about showcasing interesting people in that area, which have not been shown here. It is a different history, but there are still very, very interesting artists. And a lot of these artists have not been shown here, even they only live an hour away, or even half an hour away. And for them, I think it seems like for Hong Kong, Guangdong or Shenzhen is very far away. But for Shenzhen, Hong Kong is a bit closer and looks much closer, and there are no other spaces like we have. Okay, there's vitamin space in Guangdong certainly, which does a fantastic job in showing both sides of art and does a lot of good space. I think it is just it just doesn't look from the outside. I understand it is totally different from the inside history, but from the outside it doesn't look so different. And yeah, I'm getting here a bit in trouble, I know that.
If I could ask, I think the question should be reversed a little bit. It's tough to put Tobias on the spot. I would like to know why Parasite hasn't engaged with, ask you the question, Phoebe and Keith, why hasn't Parasite engaged with Big Sky Mind in Manila, or the Big Elephant Group in Guangzhou? You don't have to answer the question really, but I think to put a positive spin on what...
photo exhibition, and like everyone remember that one mainland Chinese artist, the photo exhibition.
They were names. Yeah. But the question, I don't want to throw the question too hard on you.
No.
The question is, Parasite hasn't engaged with the rest of Asia. So, Tobias...
That is not true.
That is actually true. Yeah.
No,
You say that is not.
I think maybe Keith and Phoebe are the core members of the past Parasite. I think they know that you are under now facing a sort of transformation. Then you have to ask the question, which direction you want to go. If it is proposed by Tobias, do you need your sort of approval, or who should direct the future?
Yeah. But the question of Phoebe was a bit unfair. She was asking a very technical question about why include Guangdong and Shenzhen as local. Now, we could argue all day about that, and I think it's a bit unfair. Who cares whether they're local or not? They're artists in another place. They should be shown in Hong Kong. One of the bad things about Hong Kong is we don't engage with Asia. Parasite's done a couple of shows with West Space, and they've done a show just recently with Substation. Pretty established,
there were also
organised.
Beijing things. There was a little bit more there was the show you did in Beijing, I think last year. And
Well, that was sort of
organised
by someone else.
And there is a lot of, I think there is exchange, but more on a you all know a lot of people in there and so on. But I think Parasite didn't. We didn't have one solo show from a now important Chinese artist. Or I think that Parasite, but didn't do solos from people which were like just on the merge to become very, very interesting or become international recognized. Because that is what makes the space important internationally, is showing people early, showing people who are just becoming being the first, or being very early by showing people. And I think something like Chow Fei, which we do next year as a solo, is a very good exhibition. She's in every bigger show in Europe, she's in every big show in America, she has a huge American leader, but the only time she has been shown here was once in the film festival and once on a private screening up at Lawrence and Valerie. So that is the somebody who's like so close to here, so why hasn't, I think that is what we, or that is something where we can go that step and can make the first good publication about somebody, and can actually make also internationally, some impact.
I think who is going to show is another question beyond. I think it's beyond today's discussion, because I think it's
It was also
more,
only an example. Yeah.
True. I think it's more on Parasite coming from a collective. Now they invite you to be the director and also the curator. That means it implies you're going to change from that collective kind of operation or manner into a different direction. Right? I think it's more on that side. And then the other question is the sense of international. I think we live in a very deceptive kind of notion about international, because in Hong Kong we're international, but we jump just from Hong Kong to the Eurocentric kind of discourse. We miss out Asia.
Yes.
That's all become a defect. And then the question is, do we need, or do we want to sort of put our focus back into Asia?
Maybe I can provide part of the answer for John's question. Now, to me, your question is no different from questions like why parasite didn't evolve with cow, not evolve with new territories.
I mean, I can answer the question too, but
the answer that I'm going to provide is like, although parasite is a collective, but this is kind of misconception. This is the reality inside parasite. We respect all the individuals in parasite. That's why throughout the past years, we have all the activities in relation to personal connection and personal interest.
yes, that's right.
And we have the freedom for all the members in parasite to do what they want. That's why the only answer to your question is
And that's a very good answer.
purely due to personal connection and
Sure.
interest.
And I think that makes it even. I mean, that's why I really think it's great that they made that you made the next step and that Parasite then said heavy, because that also means not only use of power but also with appointing the Parasite collective, I think, that also will lose certain chances to exhibit. It will less. I mean, they will lose a lot of privileges they had beside all the big work that was together with the space, but that came with that, and that is something which should not be understated, and should be. I mean, that's something which makes it, which is which is important, and also important for other people to realize that we now do that.
Well, I think parasites got a very particular history, and keeps answered the main reason why they haven't done it. And just to put it into a positive spin, which is why I jumped on Phoebe's question, because I still think it's an unfair question. I think the direction that you've outlined is fine. It needed to move. Parasite needs to move in another direction, and needs to be managed in another way. Now, the proof is in the pudding. If Tobias fails, we start again. But he's mapping out an idea, so I think, yeah, let's go with it. I mean, I'm not very involved in any of these discussions, but from my outside point of view, it needed a change. Parasite needed a change.
But I think there are no. I mean, I don't think it was a good question. I mean, okay, we don't have to discuss it, but I think every question is valid, and I appreciate that mentioning, because it's important for me, this question.
May I also ask, and what's the tone of today's talk? Is it an internal parasite matter, or you want to put this into a sort of external discussion?
I want to have it external, because when Tim asked me yesterday, I was actually thinking about saying no board members, because I want to ask more to know from the community. Because I know, not that I don't appreciate board, but I get that right. I get it. It should be really an external, because the board does give me feedback and give me valid feedback. Sure, but it is no. That's I wanted more an open discussion than that's I think more the gain from that. No, the aim from it, because we have to. Because if we go that way, I think we have to communicate that and at least hear what. Because there are things, misconceptions also, and there was like this. I said publicly I don't want any proposals anymore, but that didn't mean that I don't want any emails anymore with people or something. It was just this official proposal process that I wanted to get rid of. But that didn't mean that I'm not interested in other people's work, or in artists, Hong Kong or international artists' work. I mean, I love to look at work, otherwise I wouldn't do that job. But that, things like that, I think it's about communicating, and being in a new town for me also means I have to, I mean, only sitting upstairs openly doesn't, not so many people come through. So I would like to know from you what your perception is and what your ideas are, or what your, about to
Actually, a question. I think you're German.
Yes, I am.
Germany has a very similar situation as Hong Kong somehow, because like Germany was also divided, like Europe, like East and West Europe, for a long time, for like half a century, and then all of a sudden, like there was this integration, about 15 years ago. Hong Kong's going through a similar situation where like all of a sudden it integrates with the rest of China.
Yes.
To what degree will your personal experience as a German influence the way Parasite deals with this process of integration.
I think for me more important was when I worked in Lithuania, and I said that before that I visited Lithuania, and Lithuania is a state, which was part of Russia after the World War II till 1989. It was the first country that declared independence in 1989, the first Russian part of the Russian Empire. And I visited the first time 1992, and basically there was zero art scene. And then I continually visited till then. I lived there for a year and made the triennial. And I think what I learned from Lithuania and Estonia and Belarus and all these states is that artists want to see, an art community wants to see the best, or should have the right to see the art that is in an international discourse, an art that you see when you see the pictures in art forum, an art that is shown on the international biennials, and that if you show that art, that in the long run will help the young artist, the art student, to establish or to produce a better work. And I also learned that in a lot of these countries we had very strong artist unions in Russian times. These artist unions were not dissolved, and these artist unions stand for a very conservative kind of art. They are very, very powerful because they still have museums, they still have old rights they don't want to lose, and it is in most of these countries it is the struggle between these old, between the artist unions and the new young curators and young artists that try to. That is really a struggle and a fight. It becomes sometimes very nasty, sometimes. But I saw with Lithuania that how successful you can educate a young art generation by showing international shows, bringing it in a lot of international group shows, and also giving young people which have good ideas the possibilities to realize works. I think that's something which we also have to do, and Parasite always did. I mean, the problem, one of the biggest problems artists face in Hong Kong is that they don't have actually big studio space to do bigger works, and I hope that we can provide more of these. That's something Parasite always did, and I think we continue doing that. But it is that. I think it is really this idea to this step from a very commercial artwork, a very accepted artwork, to showing more experimental things, and to showing more showing a good combination between international and local. And if I know that there are a lot of really good, interesting shows out there which the Art Center could have for nothing, from IFA, from British Council, from things like that. And it's a shame that they're not more shown here, because they don't even cost them money. But I don't know, did that answer a little bit? Yeah. And there are seats here. I know that chairs. there are these sit down. Gina, do you want to sit down, or do you want to? Yeah.
Can I ask, how are you going to finance it all?
Finance it. We try to make it cheap. Next show maybe is a good example. Next show will be a video show, and it will be a show which will be only out of videotapes, 10 videotapes. But I want to do a cheap show because I have to finance somehow to paint the floor. Very easy. So we will do a few cheaper shows. Hopefully get some international governmental funding, and see how, because also most of it is locally. We can hopefully do it, and maybe doing. I think what happened in the last years is that a third of our production money went into publication, And we will continue to do publication, but not for every show. I mean, like Kathy and Melissa is maybe a good example. I gave them the choice, do you want a catalog or do you rather want to do 8 pages in PS Magazine? And they much rather do 8 pages in PS Magazine, which costs us considerably less than doing a catalog. I think it is this problem with production money. Certainly every artist wants a catalog, but the main thing of Parasite is doing exhibition. And I think we should not sacrifice too much exhibitions for publications, because that puts the standard of exhibitions on the long term down. And I think looking through the to the graduation shows, I think it is important to show a good standard of display a lot, also to present that you can do it. And I hope to, and you see it on a lot of these exhibitions that I did quite big inventions, so it looks kind of cozy or good, or so people can sit down. I mean, it's no reason to have a video installation if people cannot sit. And even though I know the chairs on the last installation weren't very comfy, we are working on it. But finances, yeah, we have to see how next. We will continue doing Art Mart, we will do the auction again, and we will, this year at least, and hopefully raise enough funds to do it. But it is, I just want to ask, are we going to move? No, we're not going to move because this is a very cheap space, and it's our home, and we like the area. I mean, I'm very happy with the area and where we are. I'm sure I would like to move a little closer to the other galleries, but at the moment I think we do the best here, and creative financing.
Well, just as an audience,
Yeah.
Do you want to tell like people in here, you arrived in April,
Yeah.
right? So far it's been like a couple months. So what do you, how do you feel about Hong Kong art scene and Hong Kong art?
I think it is very similar, but I mean, as I said, I came here because I was here only a few days the year before, but because I was interested in the situation and in an art scene. I think the art scene is a little bit like the it's very parallel to the institutions. There's a lot of very good emerging ones. There's certainly a few old is a bad word, more established artists. A few of them are sitting in that room, which are doing or which did or are still doing great work. I think what is at the moment we are missing a little bit the ones that are in between that are more than emergent, the outstanding talents. But I think we just have to look and then find people that we can help to go that next step, and we have to and there are, like, I mean, I do a Hong Kong art survey the next month, and I have a few artists I really like and I really would like to work with. And certainly as you can see there, most of it, I do have a very special taste in art, but every director who would say he doesn't have, there is nothing like objective curating, it just doesn't exist. We all have our taste, and we all have, I mean, I do like very contextualized art, I like very site-specific art, I like very, site-specific contextual, I like very humorous, funky humorous art, all that stuff. That's my style, but that's what I'm looking here for, and there are some very interesting people, but there are also some interesting people in Shenzhen, and these are probably gonna be in that Hong Kong survey as well. So it is Hong Kong, and I think Hong Kong has this, there's a lot of people who, and also a lot of curators and so on who run through Hong Kong, but at the moment it has the reputation that there is nothing to see, and I think there is quite a lot to see here. We just have to showcase it better, and we have to help artists also to showcase it better. But I'm really just on the beginning. I mean, I came here 3 months ago almost with no network, and first had to, or decided first to do the institutions and talk to see my peers and what they say. And I'm only just in the last weeks start really to do artist visits and so on. So I don't want to give a final thing, because that would be also quite sad if I would be done after 3 months.
Certainly, there are a lot of interesting to see.
Yeah. But as I say, we have to. It's also. I mean, there's an amazing. Also, I mean, there's an amazing graphic scene. There's an good ad scene. I mean, it's wider. It's a very wide scene, and but it is. But yeah. We had quite a lot of interesting comments on the guest books. Like there shouldn't be fucking foreigners doing curating in Hong Kong and things like that. It's yeah. What do you? Any?
Is that what was said?
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, it's part of it. But I mean, it is certainly we are. I mean, yes, I am a foreigner. Like I'm not here since like 17 years, like John or something like that. But sometimes it seems to be also quite interesting to come in from the outside and talk about it. And if you look at in China, like Blizzard or Shanghai or the warehouse were all started by people from the outside. So it's not that these people celebrated European art or something. I think they pushed the Asian thing much more than quite a lot. So I hope it won't be too bad. Yeah.
How do you, I mean, recently there was a huge upsurge of interest in art in Hong Kong by big business, big money all of a sudden wants to make profit out of it. How is Parasite dealing with this fact that this is all of a sudden become center stage and becoming art being of something, as you mentioned before, something very kind of
I think that different kind. I mean, I don't think businesses want to buy art at the moment, because if I listen to...
No, but they want to use art.
They want to use it.
Yes.
Like
How do you do with this?
They want to use it, and it's mostly shopping mall. It's this phenomena of we get a letter by shopping mall or by some commercial passages to use, and then I think we have to be very, very careful with it. First of all, we are not a commercial space, and I don't want art to be used as a display or as a so to bring people there to buy something, which basically was. I mean, if you look at the biggest event I saw in the last weeks were Langhan's shopping center, where there was apparently 3 million, but we can discuss about that project done with 30 artists, and the whole thing didn't do anything good for the artists. First of all, the selection of artists was very problematic, and second of all, it didn't. None of these artists produced a work that was significant for their own oeuvre or for anybody else's oeuvre, and I cannot imagine that any of these 2 million people, or however many go there, even look at it closer or examine it closer. So it doesn't even do anything to promote the local art. It is. I think I don't want to be used. I think that's not. I think artists shouldn't be responsible for bringing more people into McDonald's. And I think there are very, very few artists I know that can actually compete in a shopping mall. And then it takes so much. It takes so much means that it's very unlikely that you get it. A good example was the one AAA did actually a few days ago in the down in the Lane Crawford, where Lane Crawford at least, I mean, but actually it was much better than most of these things are done. I mean, but there somebody really committed, somebody really put a lot Lane Crawford put a lot of funds in it and made something happen. But a lot of times you get called and said, yeah, can you do something, but it shouldn't cost anything, and we cannot give you anything other than space. It doesn't do anything for us or for the artists or for us the art or the artists. I don't. And I just don't. I think we have to watch out that we are not going to be used. If somebody gives me, if I get an offer, we check it. But till now we didn't have offers that were acceptable. And I don't want to be. I don't want to be in that situation like in Langhans or something.
No, but I also meant this art hub, this multi-billion-dollar.
Oh, you mean the
well, this is very interesting. The shopping centers.
Oh,
is very
okay.
interesting.
Oh, I mean,
no, that's.
You want to put Kowloon?
Yeah, how do you deal with this
Kowloon?
one? What is you want to play?
Look, West Kowloon. I'm just too new here to comment on West Kowloon, to be honest. I mean, that is such a complex story that I'm not. I keep my comments. I mean, I don't. I think it looks for me maybe. It looks too big. I don't know how they want to get the numbers. It just doesn't add up. If I look at all the other numbers, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And what we need is a middle infrastructure. If we get West Kowloon, we have something. We have a lot of grassroots, and we have something totally far away. But what is actually making, if you look in any other countries, in any other city, what is making art, what is helping artists, what is helping a community and setting up a community, are something like Kunsthalle in Germany, something like Strax in France, something like mid-level institutions. And also, where do you want to get the? I just think it's more we don't have. Who's going to run these places? There's nobody in Hong Kong. I mean, for running a place like they want to have, they need 6-10 curators. Where are they? Where are the people who educate them? It is a little bit. It's one of these spaceship ideas, and I think it is very, very far away from the art community and from the internet. And everybody who talks about these projects, like, what is that for? Who is it good for? And I don't know. So that's my first impression. I mean, I live right opposite of it. I look every day on the empty space. But I think I know that we also kept. That's why I know we kept quite out of the discussion or the board kept very much out of the discussion of West Kowloon. Was there?
No, we have some
Every
statement
time.
for them.
We have a statement.
Every time we were invited to
Yeah.
send reps.
So you didn't go
You did
to
go.
these forums?
Yes, we
No, we did involve in the discussion that we try to stay away from this commercial connection with that. That's what, more or less like what Tobias kind of attitude to the whole things. So we try to be neutral.
So if they offer you a space, what are you going to do?
Oh, in fact,
They
this
won't
happened
go.
once. There's this developer offers the big flat in the nearby shopping arcade here. But at the end, we didn't accept.
Actually, to answer that question, we were approached, we were approached by Sunny Development, which is one of the consortium, and then we were also contacted by email from Henderson Development. Now, both of these contacts were made informally, and they were not even the email that we received were kind of like mass email. So it wasn't even directed to us, and the content was written such that there were no sincerity. It was almost like a mass sales pitch. It was actually insulting to get that email, and I thought they were just using a Parasite art space without any sincerity or any idea on how to work with the art community in Hong Kong. So we have been contacted, but not really in any formal sense of way. They didn't even try to get anyone to contact us by phone. it was more like a mass email attempt, as if they probably sent it to 200 other email addresses. So that's all we had. That was our experience.
Well, I don't want to state my feelings on this,
Yeah.
but it's
No, but we
blanks.
don't-
Are you lobbying the government to be included? I mean, you are an institution here. You have an interest in it. Is this at this stage where there's not even a decision maker?
I think
Are you lobbying the government?
I think we are more interested in private sponsors. And we would like. I think we are more interested in getting more people interested to work with us on a private, to find more friends in the commercial world. I think that's a good way to describe it. But we are not. At the moment, we are not lobbying actively to go over to West Kowloon, because there is, if you look at it, there is also no space for small institution. It's all big, big, big. It's nothing under 20, 30,000 square, and we don't. I think we would much rather. Or I mean that's personal. I would much rather stay somewhere in that area in a bit cleaner, a bit bigger, and a bit closer space to the other galleries. But we can also not make a jump. Or at the moment, not. Maybe in 2-3 years, we could make a jump from Parasite to being a Kunsthalle. That's what I tried to do in Auckland, and still working on it. But at the moment, it is just would be not fair. But on the other side, if we are not getting at least prepared, and at least, I mean, that's why we now started to educate curators. It's not that these curators have to run West Kowloon, but if we are not educating curators, who is there in the future, who runs these spaces and who talks about it, and who also stands up and says, hey, that's a bad idea to have 10,000 square meters for art and not only one curator. I mean, I think it is also the idea of, and that is why it's great to talk here and that. It is also this idea of having a discussion and talk about it, and you know, and exchanging ideas about it. And it, I don't know how that happened with West Kowloon. I know there were forums and so on, but I unfortunately didn't live here yet. I was still trying to get a space. But are there any ideas of the public about how because it seems like everything is done, which it isn't. I mean, our program is we have an outline, we have certain things which we kind of fixed, but it is still things like PS magazine is still open. The program is still also not everything is fixed. Parasite is, I mean, that's the idea. It is an open, changing organism. It is a lab. I mean, I always try to all the space like ARCHIVE or Parasite. For me, this is a big high-end test tube. It's like where we can try out things. We can do exhibitions. Some are good, some are bad, some are media. But I think I need some. It would be good to have, I mean, ideas or also critique. I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, what if for a forum like that is like, look, why do we show Guangdong art, or will we, or why do we? Why aren't we doing any? Why don't we show so much painting anymore? Or why don't we do, things like that? Are there any concerns in the with you where you feel like we are totally, or where Parasite is totally missing out, or is there anything like, I mean, like an idea, but like, is there anything you really feel, hey, we should do that? We are missing music, or we are missing video art, or we are missing radio, or something like that. Is there any any feel in the? That's what I would be quite interested to hear. That the thing that people really feel, not only missing in Parasite, but also missing in general in Hong Kong. You know, whether is there anybody who feels, any art form that feels underrepresented, or or that we should show more fashion or more car design? Not just abstruse. It would be just interesting to hear if people feel that feel things missing in it. I mean, on the other side, it would be great, I cannot really imagine it. There's no
From my point of view, it's what I said the other day. We need intellectual rigour, we need personal responsibility. You know, it's not about the art forms that are shown, it's about the quality. And I think the space should be about quality and interest and controversy. You know, there's so many young artists here, young people who just, they love coming to these spaces because it's a bit different. It's a bit different from TVB.
Yeah. No, that is, I think, I mean, that's the good thing is, yes, I'm here, yes, I will be personally responsible for that program. I will not be personally responsible for every artwork because things go not in the good way and not in the bad way. I cannot take fame for an incredibly well done installation because it's the artist, but sometimes also things don't go that way. But that's part of it, that's part of Parasite. That's the beauty of every of these spaces, that things can go wrong and that we have the right. We have actually the right here to do things right, but we have also the right to do things wrong in spaces like that. Not all the time, and not, but I think it is about trying things out and doing experiences. And quality, yes, but quality also in a way that sometimes we have to take chances, and sometimes things go wrong, right? And I think it's more an overall quality you're talking about, and we all know that, you know, things go like that and like that. But I also don't want to have, I don't want to play it too safe. I think that's also a message which didn't come over in the last day. I don't want to have safe right. I don't want every show like that's, because that's too easy and that's also no fun. And then it's like only group show of established artists. That's not what we are there for. That should be other institutions there for, but they are not here, unfortunately, in Hong Kong. But that's not my. I mean, you cannot do everything. I think.
Anything about curatorial practice for this year's program or the coming year's program?
And curatorial practice, basically important is we're going to have more talks of different curators. We're going to have more shows curated by international curator stars. As I said, Niklas Schaffhausen is going to come in the mid of December to do a small show because we don't want to put a lot of money into it. Victor Misiano, who's a big Moscow European curator, is going to do a show here next year. I think it's more about doing talks. We're going to have this position of an assistant curator, which is limited to 1 year. In the far future, I hope to have a bigger exhibitions with lots of curators, but that's dream world in 2 years. We will work a lot on that idea of, because it is so close to quality and to taking responsibility and to work on that and to making it interesting. And that's why curating will be an ongoing topic in that space for the next year, for the next 2 years, or as long as I'm here, because I do have I think I got hired here also because I have a quite good network. I know, I mean, things like Hedwig Fain, who was here last Sunday, and they actually had a quite good talk. She was here because I know her since years, and that's network. She was on the way to Australia, and if I wouldn't have met her by chance in Venice, we wouldn't have had this talk. And I think that's the part of me being here, is to say stop to these people, take a breath here, stay here for a few days, and do a talk, and we do a few art visits. It's interesting here, it's interesting, because also these people are coming and taking longer time here because they know it's so close to China, and there's an Asian art archive, and hopefully there's us as a network, because that's what these curators also want and need. They need people they talk to, and they need networks they can tap in. That's, and they have all the chances to go over Bangkok, Sydney, Bangkok, Singapore, Tokyo, Hong Kong. I mean, they can choose, and if we are doing a good work here and we are getting really good connected, these people will stop here and these people will look at the local art here. I mean, why did Charles, who's running the next Sydney Biennial, he's researching China, but I haven't seen him here yet. And why didn't he come here? Why is he always, you know? So then I think it is the best thing and the best service we can provide to local art is bringing more of these curators in here and helping them to research and to work on Hong Kong, and hopefully have more Hong Kong artists in these bigger events. I think that's kind of what we try Yeah. Where are we? Yeah. More. It's your last chance. No, it's not. I mean, it's not. It's not. That would be nice. Last chance to say anything then. We have 1 year to do now. It's not like that. I mean, there is. We are. I mean, not only me, but the whole board is open for discussion and is open to talk with everybody all the time. It's not that we are closed circles. That's yeah. Yeah.
I think somehow from the slides that you present, the styles that you have in place that you like of those kinds of works, you say, be funky or more humorous. I thought if this is something, if only I say, is something not coming from Hong Kong artists or will you be doing something otherwise, researching something beyond your personal taste of Hong Kong art?
Yeah, I mean that is. I don't know that these are jobs, but yes, because for example in Lithuania, it sounds terrible to say, but Lithuania is it's like Poland. It's a very sad. People are more. What's the English word for it? People are more in a more sad mood. You know, it's a bit more grey and so on. And I think you have to. I mean, that is why I like to be in countries for a longer term, because if I fly into a country and be there for a week, I don't really understand what's going on and why certain things are important. And that is why at the moment it's still a bit difficult to answer to questions like how is Hong Kong art or how important is Hong Kong art, because it does take time to understand an art scene, and it does take time to understand the development. And I'm very, very aware of it, and that is always, especially in the first half year, difficult, because the first half year everybody asks you what do you think about the art scene, and nobody asks you that after a year anymore. And I think that is actually the reason why at the moment I consider myself a resident traveler, which means I like to be in places for a longer time. I'm not somebody as a curator, as a lot of my colleagues who even do big biennials in places like Istanbul or Sydney and so on, and they are only 3-4 weeks in these places. I much more prefer to be in the local scene and stay there for quite a time. And certainly I bring with me my own ideas and my own preferences, but I do also understand, and I do also think it's more important to understand the newness of a place and the other thing of a place, and that's why I choose that life and why I enjoy it, because that's much more interesting. And I mean, for me the best things in Auckland were things I discovered after there were photographers who only after 1 year I realized how interesting they are or how important they are, and it does, or even I saw their work from the first day on. It does take time to understand an art scene, and it does take time to understand circumstances, and it does take time to understand political connections, and that is why now being here only 3 months, I can say for me Guangdong is one, but maybe Phoebe is right, and in a year I say, oh wow, how could I have said that? I mean, I do realize that, and I think that is why also talks like that are important for me.
Could you talk a little bit about the art space in New Zealand? I mean, from the beginning, what do you think, and when you left, and anything changed in your life? Art space was a bit different, because I came to New Zealand with knowing New Zealand very well. I have been there 4 times before I took that job over. I did even an exhibition at Art Space 2 years before, or 1 year before I took that job. I did help in a very big New Zealand exhibition back in Kassel. So I was much more connected in the New Zealand art scene than I was when I came here. So I probably take here more. New Zealand Art Space was very close in all the institutions. But there's just the next step
seems to be missing, which in Auckland, we had Art Space was organized. We had organizations, we had like 3 or 4 organizations like Parasite, then we had Art Space, we had 3 university guys, we had this pyramid, and here, I think, or what I think at the moment, it seems that pyramid is not there, and we have to try to build that pyramid and work on that. So Art Space was much better equipped from money-wise and just equipment-wise and so on. But also there, as I tried here, I think the best way to foster local talent is to bring it together with the best. We have the best I can get my hands on for the best art on the world I can get my fingers on, and it costs the same money to bring a good artist over, or a very established artist over, than it costs something very emerging. And so I think it's a bit, it's a mix that matters. And yeah, that's basically. Oh yeah.
It's just a quick question. We're talking about building some kind of local art scene and making a contribution. You know, in the Microwave Festival, it's a pretty good festival, I think, every year. Our experience was we brought in great artists and we put together what I thought was a good show.
Yeah.
But the impact on the local art scene was really minimal. And we've been trying to create a new media art scene, interactive art scene, and it hasn't worked so far. So we're shifting our strategy a bit this year. I guess what I'm really interested to know is, are you just planning to bring in great artists? Because that may not help to nurture a local art scene. What else are you doing, say, to bring in younger people or to cultivate those people?
First of all, I have to say I didn't take Microwave in that description about art scene. I know how important it is, and a lot of people talk about it, and I just didn't do my research properly into it. But I know, and I heard many times that this is a place where a lot of things I'm talking about actually happen. I think it is not only bringing art in, it is also bringing artists in, and it is about, we are here about an art space like Parasite is more about communication and more about talking about it and doing different kind of seminars. And we just have to see to get as much communication going on between the different artists and the different people here and who come in as possible. And we are really lucky. For example, one of Germany's biggest, not biggest, but at the moment most discussed media artist, Christian Jankowski, is coming here next in September for 2 weeks. And we do, and what we're going to do is, because we don't have money to do that show, we just change the video show to a Jankowski show. Because again, we take that chance of him being here and at least present that work and do a talk with him and do some kind of event with him. Certainly it would be good to do workshops or something like that, but it is, we cannot do, I think, what you say really has to make us think, and we really have to, makes me think. I saw a lot of examples, or a lot of samples in the world where things like that were very successful, and in the long run were working, and it was important to bring people in. But I think also that we do need a big exhibition like Microwave. As I said, I don't know Microwave, but basically my mentality is I do think Hong Kong needs an international biennial or a big group show, and I do think that because we have to make bigger impact, and I do think that we have to work on that. And I think it's a pity that Artsports was cancelled out of very strange reasons, which most of us know why. And I will work on the long run to establish something like an international festival, and I will look into microwaves much closer than I did. But I think there is, the biggest problem is also that the students don't come to see that. Students don't do the rounds and students don't go to openings here, which is the first time, or the few we have, the few I see at John, it's strange that we don't have this opening culture here, which we have in other countries, which is a bit of pity because it's the best time for students. It's free booths and free talks and free communication. I hope to go into the universities if they start again and do student talks and get more communication with the students going on, because I really feel that this is, I don't know why a lot of people give me different explanations, but I don't know why students don't come to the openings at least, or to the or very few, very little. I mean, we have 4 art schools in town, or okay, 3 in town and 1 a bit away. But I think there should be more exchange between us and them, and I hope that it's fostering that I might get. Because certainly we don't have any influence to the students as they don't see the shows. But on the other side, they do have to get their asses up and come up here to see the shows. We cannot. They have to be a bit more proactive, and maybe that's the thing we have to work on. But yeah.
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer for any of this.
No.
The danger that I see, and maybe it won't happen,
Yeah.
is that this might end up being just a showcase where people come in and they don't have a lasting impact on the local arts community. So I'm a bit concerned about that, but it may not happen.
You mean that?
They bring in great work,
Yeah.
but there's no lasting impact on local arts production, which after all should be one of the major goals. I guess. I mean, I don't know.
No. I think it is one of the major goals, but I think that because we have to be different from the other. I mean, that is at the moment the thing. I want to be different from all the others. But it's also that we want to, as I said, we want to encourage better installation. That we want to put more money into production and things like that. So I think it's a mixture, and I think you're right that the main goal should be. I mean, we are here for the local. I mean, it is the local space, and that's the end goal, is to foster the local art scene.
There was something that I really liked in Parasite in the past.
Yeah.
I think it didn't work quite the way it should have worked. So I have mixed feelings about it, but it was a potentially good idea, and that was the open call.
The what?
The open call.
Yeah.
I know that you don't want to continue it, and I see your point. I really see your point. In the past, it wasn't quite done the way it should have been done. Perhaps it may have been a good idea to notify the artists with some time.
Yeah.
At the moment, they were notified very late, and there was never a strong sense of mentoring these young artists. So I see some reasons why it hasn't worked. At the same time, it is a good example of something that could be done to nurture local art. If you don't like that model, well, it's time to think of something else.
I can imagine making an open call for either for curators or for young art. More, as you say, I think more precise open call, and it just was not this year, because it just to also make a point that now we are director driven. It's also more a message, but I don't want to exclude that system at all for the next years. I think open calls or an open application process can be right, and it's I'm totally not against it. It just was this year's just a message for this year. Let's say it that way. But if you do it, if you do it, I want to do it more precise, because last year we had, one knows better, I think we had 120 applications or something like that. We could only take 5 because that's all of the space we had. It's an incredibly waste for artists. I know how much work it is to write an application. I mean, it takes me days, especially if you're not. Most of these people are not specialized in it, and it's a lot of. It's a lot of disappointing, and I don't know which decisions then were made and which ones were made. But I know with other institutions, the 5 that get taken are the ones that people know anyway or have some personal connections or something like that. And it's, I think we have to, I think Apex in New York is having they have an open call policy. They have like 1 curator open call and I think 1 artist open call. And then they have five outside people coming in doing the assessment. I think Apex is a great, if I would say one, I want ArtSpace, I want Parasite be like 1 space. I think Apex would be one very strong example in New York, which I really admire. I really think they are doing a great job in a space which is the same size we have and is as far away from Soho as we are. So that's a really nice example of how to do things.
I think the idea of open call was to make sure people who produce art, but you don't know, would get a chance to be seen by you.
Yeah.
So instead of having an open call, would you do anything else to?
And there were 2 things. As I said, everybody can send me emails, and I'm happy. I love to look at everything. I just don't want people making. I don't want lots of portfolio. You know, just send me pictures. That's amazing. And we also think, or we were thinking of having 1 day a week or 1 day a month where people can bring their stuff in and we can have a look at it. This kind of, certainly we would schedule it and make it more proper, but we were talking about that and we talked about the program and I think it will happen. So it is like, look, if you want me to show your stuff Saturdays between 2 and 5, make an appointment, but we are very open to do that and then you get 15 minutes. And that's something like that. We do plan and I think it's a good idea and I think it's at least worth a try. Yeah, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it's a great way, but I think it hasn't been done before, I never heard about it, so we should definitely, sounds like a nice idea. So things like that are, we're talking about it and I'm sure we will find a way around it. But as I said, my email address, I'm sitting upstairs. Yeah, okay, it would be nice to have people call me before and things like that, but my email address is on the website. I mean, we all have JPEGs. It's not, there's a post. It's not that people, I'm on a lot of openings. It's not that I'm like, protected by 10 bodyguards who don't let anybody on. It's quite open. Just have. Yeah.
So we see a lot of very good overseas artists come to visit having a show in Hong Kong, but a lot of them is pretty disappointing because they have a very good portfolio, we see very good thing there, but when they come to Hong Kong, maybe they think it's just traveling, and then maybe the Hong Kong Institute organization, they are not giving them a lot of money. When they come here, they are not showing some good things. So as a curator, what will you do to make sure the artists bring something really good?
Yeah, I think that is a point. A lot of spaces say, especially in that size, they see it as a nice trip and don't carry. I think we have to make it into an important show for them. I think we have to make it a show that makes sense for them and we can work on that with them. And the 2 solos, for example, we have planned next year. The one is basically the first solo for that artist in an institution, so that is important for her. That makes it also important. Even our financial means are not so big. And for the other, it is somebody where he's born in Hong Kong, but he's not living here anymore. But it would be the first Asian show for him. And I think also it is about, we have to choose, because of our very limited resources, we have to choose artists we know we can make a good show with limited resources. And with having now the resident apartment here and so on, I think we have the chance also that they stay a little bit longer and so on, that they don't just see it as a run through. And if we have it like that, like with Christian or with Nicolas, then we should watch that we don't put too much resources. That we do it, that we do it right, that we do it somehow interesting, but then we should not spend too much of our resources, because it's also our resources on them. So we just have, I think it's a combined thing, and we have to be very, we have to be selective. You shouldn't let chances go, like with Christian and Nicola. But if you really commit like to a solo next year, and we're gonna have 3 solos, one is the artist research project, 2 are 2 young artists, you really have to make it a special event also for the artist and not just another show. And sometimes that happened. I mean, it also happened to me in my career, certainly, that artists didn't put things in as you expected. But I think a lot of times if you give the artist a lot of space, and if you give them, make them only, as I said before, only happy artist is a good artist, and if they really look forward to it and give them time, then we hopefully get more interesting show. But I think it is a danger which we have to be aware of. We have to calculate if you plan the shows. You're right with that. And that's also, I mean, that's exactly the problem, that a lot of these people which are very talked about now, which are very much in the Discord and so on, they are so busy that they cannot rock out one big show after the other. And then we really have to see what we can do with curating and so on. But that is always a problem. If you want to have big names, you can end up with a less good show. Let's hope it won't happen too often. Yeah. So everybody probably ran through now 3 times. Asian art space. That piece we're going to have in the next show, which is a good stop. Francis and Liz is in the next exhibition, which is called Power Place, which opens 9th of September. Watch this space. Are there any? If there are no more comments, talks, critics, as I said, we are all, I think I talk for the board as well, are always open for everything, and please don't be afraid to talk to us. And thanks for coming, everybody, and I hope to keep that discussion alive and going, and working hard to do good art with good artists, and work on it. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. If anybody is in that room which address we don't have, please give us a card or your address somehow so we can send you a nice invitation card in the future. Thank you. No, I didn't put that in. Normally that's part of the art.
It's really nice.
My next show is to be my table so people can sit on it. I just decided. So I basically put it around and make it to a
你幫埋 check 數佢咯，幫埋嗰個tiêu飛。